Hi, it's Congresswoman Jan Schakowsky back with my plans and pans. Though I think it's hard to believe because it seems like a long time ago, but it's just a week ago today that the President of the United States was positive for the coronavirus, along with his wife, and it turned out along with a lot of people around him. Of course, we wish the President well, a full recovery. He went to Walter Reed Hospital and he was given a variety of some experimental drugs, some of the regular drugs. And in fact, some of those were really not necessarily recommended by many experts who weighed in, not necessarily his own doctors. When he left the hospital, he got into a car with Secret Service employees who took him around at his request outside of the grounds of the hospital so that he could wave to his all of his supporters that were gathered out there. And then he went back to the White House after only 4 days at Walter Reed and immediately had a kind of photo opportunity where we saw him take off his mask and just stand there for the cameras. And since then, he has said that he feels 20 years younger than he has. He's feeling great and doing well. I think it's interesting, at least to me, that one of those drugs included fetal. It was fetal tissue research that helped get that drug to be made. Now, the president, not long ago, has banned the use of fetal tissue at all in research and development of drugs. I've had a bill for a while that would allow for the use of fetal tissue because it is very useful in developing new remedies and new therapeutics. And we're circulating that bill right now to try and get more and more co-sponsors to say, let's do everything we can, including using fetal tissue, which otherwise would be thrown away, unusable, to get the best medications that we can. So that is ongoing. But we also know that during this period, there's been a flip-flop on whether or not we are going to get any kind of a recovery bill for all the people who are suffering as a result, not just of the disease, but the consequences of not having jobs and not having, in some cases, enough to eat because of this coronavirus epidemic right now. And so at one point, the president had been willing to negotiate, the White House had been willing to negotiate with Nancy Pelosi and the Democrats to come up with a COVID relief bill. And then he quickly said one night, no deal at all. And then just a few hours after that came back saying that there were a couple of things that he wanted to do, some relief for the airlines wanted to have a check sent to all Americans. And so it's been back and forth. Well, as of today, earlier today, the president talked to Mnuchin. Mr. Mnuchin is the Secretary of the Treasury, and to the minority leader in the House of Representatives, Kevin McCarthy, and said he wanted something big, very big. Now, what we heard from Mr. Kudlow, who is on the Council of Economic Advisors, the head of it, is that they are talking about a $1.9 trillion relief package that is coming closer to what the Democrats had proposed in our HEROES Act, which was a very comprehensive relief bill for small businesses, for families, for education, for state and local government. We'll see. We'll see if it happens, and we'll see what's in there. But at least for this moment, it looks like maybe we are going to get something that we can all agree on. I know that the Democrats are anxious to negotiate and certainly willing to compromise. The person the president didn't call was Mitch McConnell, the head of the Senate, who in the past has said unless he can get the majority of the Republicans in the Senate to support a relief bill, he would refuse to call it. Let's hope that there will be some changes. I think as you know, we keep hitting these new landmarks, unfortunate landmarks. 213,000 Americans who have died from COVID so far. 7.6 million people who have contracted. And on Thursday, we saw over 3,000 new cases in Illinois. And yesterday, there were 32 deaths here in Illinois. So we have to keep working on this. As you know, many experts have said that wearing a mask can be short of a vaccine, or maybe even equal to a vaccine, can really help reduce the numbers. So please wear a mask whenever you go out, whenever in your closed space with others. Now, I want to tell you some things about voting here in the 9th Congressional District in Cook County. And there are some differences. The City of Chicago Board of Elections is in charge of elections in the city, and the Cook County Clerk, under which is the County Board of Elections, is in charge of elections in Cook County. But what's important for you to know, that if you are not registered to vote, you can still do that online. Certainly want you to, and they'll be on the screens. We'll have the places that you can go. Just be sure that you are registered to vote. You may have moved, you may not have voted for a while, and your name may be off the rolls. It is definitely worth checking to make sure that you're registered, and the easiest way to do that is just to register, to fill out a registration form. We definitely want you to make your choices about voting by mail. But here's the thing to know. And the postal workers are saying, trust it, but do it early as you can. If you requested a ballot and you got a ballot, do what I think I told you B. Lumpkin did. I think I told you last week. She's 102 years old, and she was, her photo was on Good Morning America. I think it was Good Morning America, delivering her ballot in the mailbox. And if she could do it, she was wearing almost a hazmat suit that she arranged for herself to protect herself, then you can do that too. But if you have received a ballot and you decide now, I would rather vote early, and that in Chicago is happening on October 16th, and in the suburbs, October 19th at various early voting places. So you decide you're going to do that, or you're going to decide to do it on Election Day. You have to bring with you that ballot that you got in the mail. Not the request for the ballot, but the ballot itself, and surrender it, turn it in, and then you can vote on Election Day, or you can vote at the early voting place. Otherwise, you will have to fill out a provisional ballot, and that sometimes is counted. It's not as reliable, put it that way. So you definitely want to make sure that you do that. Let's see. So the early voting places are in various places around the count outside of the city of Chicago and the city of Chicago. And on election day, there will be a lot more places to vote. It may not be the precinct that you've gone to all the time. Check it out. Make sure you know exactly where to go. And I would say, start today to make your plan about how you want to vote. It's very important that you exercise your right. It sounds more complicated than it really is once you are able either to fill it out at home and mail it, or go and do it on early voting. That's what I plan to do, or actually show up at the polls on election day. So the President of the United States, it's now 105 days since the intelligence community told us that Russia was giving a bounty, money, paying people, paying Russians, paying people to kill Americans in Afghanistan, paying people in Afghanistan to kill Americans in Afghanistan. This was a report from the intelligence community, which, having been on the intelligence committee for 8 years, they don't make announcements if they're not quite sure. At least the president ought to comment on how terrible that is. And, we know, and there's all kinds of funny business going on in elections. The Russians are still participating. But you know what? I don't want you to worry about voter suppression. As human beings, we can only control what we can control. And that is voting. That is our responsibility right now. So I'm just doing that. Asking people to exercise their constitutional right, the most precious, I think, that we have. The thing John Lewis, my former colleague, died trying to get and protect all of his life. So let's control what we can control. We don't want people to be anxious or nervous. Let's just vote. Thank you so much. I'll see you next week.
Thank you for watching my video. Make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel and follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, where my handle is @Jan Schakowsky.